Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. Today we're going to answer another question from one of our viewers. In this case, Mike T had asked us, asked a few questions actually, which really appreciate it. If you guys have questions, please write them below. But he was asking specifically about getting USD credit cards for ad spend if you're an affiliate. And I think this is broadly true in terms of building credit, in terms of setting yourself up to just have access to people who want points cards, etc. And so we're going to cover all of that, how to get points cards, how to have USD credit cards, how to build credit in the US, and do that specifically for foreigners. We're going to dive in and we're going to cover this subject with you. Before we do that, if you haven't done so already, please smash the subscribe button. Make sure you hammer that notification bell so that you don't miss any of our videos. And definitely, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Really appreciate that. It helps us out a lot. If you don't like it, please tell me in the comments below. That helps me probably even more. And if you're interested in this subject, which is international tax planning, international structuring, how to set yourself up abroad, pay the lowest legal amount of tax possible, how to get second residencies, citizenships, passports, open offshore bank accounts, invest abroad, etc., reach out to me. You can book a call, credit.fm/Michael Rosmer. There's a link below. Or you can check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com. Let's get started. Okay, so the question pretty clearly seems to me to be coming from the context of somebody who's like maybe an affiliate marketer. It might also come from the perspective of, say, like e-com and paying for ad spend, etc. But probably the latter, or the former. I'm going to address it from both perspectives, and I'm going to also give a broader perspective to you guys, because I think there's a lot of people who would like points cards, who would like U.S. credit, who would like the credit cards associated, etc. And so we're going to cover that. So a little bit of context for anyone who doesn't know about how affiliate marketing works. Often affiliate marketing involves setting up different advertising accounts. Each account needs to have a separate credit card associated with it. Very often those accounts get closed for various reasons. And so you need new cards. So you need a steady stream of cards. So that's quite a fundamentally different purpose than, say, somebody who's doing e-com, where they don't need a whole bunch of cards, right? So both of those have to be considered as a little bit separate use cases, okay? He was referring specifically from the perspective of Canada. I'm going to give you the broad perspective, but Canada certainly is one that we have some more immediate solutions for. So let's start there. All right, so you have fundamentally, when you're doing this, I guess you would say 2 or 3 options, right? Certainly in a bunch of parts of the world, you can get US dollar cards, which can be used for spending money, all right? So some simple examples of where you can do a lot of cards, 20 a month per account, is, for example, Revolut, okay? This is in Europe. You don't necessarily get this everywhere else, but in the EU you get this. You certainly get something similar in a lot of the, there's a variety of other card providers that you can use. It's hit and miss about what you can get. There's a few of them in the US. You can typically look for something called payroll cards. Okay, that can be something that's like a piece of keyword that can be sometimes helpful for you. There's a variety of providers that will offer this. Wirecard was like kind of the big mass provider for a bunch of these guys. But there's a bunch of others as well that are, aside from Wirecard. So that's a first thing just to be aware of, is that that's a possible solution. Now, he was asking specifically about Amex, and Amex, probably the easiest way to go and get Amex or deal with it, aside from, having a friend who's willing to partner with you and you give them some points or something like that for doing it, is to get Amex credit built up in your country, and you can do something called a corporate credit transfer with Amex. Okay, so sometimes you can transfer from your country down to another country. That's one option, okay? The next thing that you can do, of course, is if you're doing just, a single card or whatever, you can spend on, a local card, right? So for instance, I'm here in Bulgaria, I can get US dollar cards. If I'm in, UAE, I can get, like a card potentially there. In a lot of places you can get them. Now in some places you can't, right? So for example, Singapore, you tend to get Singapore dollar cards. If you're in Hong Kong, you get Hong Kong dollar cards. So you have some restrictions in that regard. Now there's some trade-offs, because for instance, if you're in Hong Kong, the best card you can get ideally, and we help foreigners get this sometimes, is the Visa Prestige Visa. Okay, it's called the Prestige. Anyway, so this is actually a pretty good points card. It is in Hong Kong dollars, but you get extra points for spending in foreign currency, and they give you a pretty great conversion rate. So if you're getting a lot of points and you can utilize those points effectively for buying business class and first class tickets, etc., it's a pretty decent card. So that's with Citi. And that's actually a personal card. And in order to get it, basically what you do is you have to have a relationship with a private banker. Then you go and you put money down as a deposit, and whatever you put as a deposit becomes your credit line, so you can get 20,000, 100,000, whatever it is you want, and off you go. It's not a bad way to go. You can get plenty of free flights, and we've got some clients who love it, right? If you're not in that situation, or you're looking for something else, so let's look at, because he was from Canada, talking about Canada. So in Canada, you can get something called the Scotia Passport, Scotia Visa Infinite Passport Card, which gives you no foreign transaction fees, so that's very good, as well as you can get points, so we like both of those things. And so obviously, what's the downside of this? The downside is if you're spending in US dollars or any foreign currency, okay, you don't pay any transaction fees, that's cool, you get points, that's also cool. But if you end up getting paid not in Canadian dollars, then you may have a conversion rate in order to pay off your bill, right? So, not amazing. But still not bad. Now, if you can get paid in Canadian dollars, you're golden. Usually people don't, right? That's just kind of usually the nature of the business. What's your next, and you're gonna have a hard time getting a lot of those cards, okay? So sometimes what's an easier or better option for someone is you can go to US Bank, okay? So US Bank is obviously a US bank, but they have operations in Canada, and if you provide financials and some other things, you can get, in theory, an unlimited number of payment cards in US dollars. Now, by default, those cards are not points cards, but actually they'll build card plans for you, so potentially you can actually get points from them, which is kind of interesting. So US Bank is kind of one of the go-to places that you can look at that you can get, a plethora of cards, okay? I used to, help people with this, but the reality is it's kind of a pain in the ass to go through, so, I'll give you the information for free, and, if you want help with it, you can reach out to us. All right, what's the next option? The next option is to do kind of what he's discussing, which is to actually go and get things set up in the US. So let's talk about how that works. What you would want to do is you want to build US credit. Now, if you're in Canada, you can do a credit transfer using TD Bank or RBC Bank, okay? So TD has something called a borderless account, and you can basically utilize that to go and get US, so it's, when they have the borderless account, basically you can have two things in Canada. You can have a US dollar account, which is not a US account. It's a Canadian account in US dollars, but you can also, through TD or through RBC, get an actual US bank account through them. And when you do that, you can transfer your credit, okay? So what that allows is you to start getting a US credit card, that's actual US credit card in US dollars, and you can start to build credit. You can also do that through RBC. So basically the way that is you have RBC Royal Bank, and I think that the US version is just RBC Bank. Anyway, you can go and you can check out, and they have a service where you can set up a foreign bank account through them from Canada. This is personally, okay? So business, it's kind of a nightmare. It's a totally different thing, but personally you can do this. And why this matters is because your objective should be to build US credit, okay? If you do it properly, you can build quite a bit of US credit in, I would say, 6 to 12 months, which can give you a lot of value, okay? In theory, you don't necessarily need much to build that credit, okay? Your credit score, what people will tell you is, oh, you need a social security number. This is not true. You do not need a social security number in order to have credit. That tends to be the way that they match your credit profile, but they actually use a variety of details, and that's just one of them, okay? To make it easier, you should get an EIN, okay, an individual tax identification number. Now, people sometimes ask me, they say, hey, am I taxable if I get this number? No, you're not. It has nothing to do at all with your tax status, and that can cause a little bit of a trouble getting that number. So to get that number, I recommend using some provider or accountant, et cetera, who can help with the process, and you typically need to have a US company. It's a little bit of a pain in the ass. I find that it takes, I think in theory now they're saying it takes like 6 weeks or something. When I first went through the process, I think they said it was 10 weeks, and things are kind of delayed, et cetera. So be aware that it takes some time to get it. It's not an expensive process. It costs you like, I don't know, $350, $250, $500, something like that, right? To have somebody do it. It's well worth having somebody else do it for you. If you have problems, reach out to us. We can help you with it. But when I first did it, I was in LA. I'd specifically gone to LA and I actually went to the IRS office. I think what had happened was I'd tried sending something in initially and I didn't have the right documents. It was a pain. Then I went to them in LA. I went through this whole thing. 10 weeks later, they denied me. So total disaster, totally horrible experience. And so I wouldn't recommend doing that. I would recommend do it remotely, get it done properly with somebody who can assist you, and that's much, much better for your situation, okay? So hopefully that's helpful to you. Now, what's the next part of that? Okay, so ideally you want to build credit. Now, in theory, you don't actually need that, as I said, but what you want to do is you want to get a secured credit card. So here's the trick that a lot of people seem not to get. There's a lot of illegal immigrants in the US, lots of illegal immigrants. Because of that, do you think that they don't have credit products for those people? Of course they do. So what you're going to do is you're going to go and you're going to Google, credit cards for people without ITINs, for people without social security numbers, credit cards for, illegal immigrants. I don't know, something like that, right? I can't remember when I originally did the research for this. It was quite a while ago. But you're going to find that there's a host of products. Now, these are typically low credit limit products, and usually you put up a deposit, right? So you put up a $500 deposit or something like that. And once you get that deposit, that becomes your credit limit. You can go and you can spend and you can pay it off. And you just do that over and over and over again for a period of time. And that's going to build your credit history. After a while, you don't need that deposit. And now all of a sudden you can do all kinds of things. Now when you walk into the bank will consider giving you an actual business credit card, right? Then you can start doing things you can do all kinds of stuff to build credit. And it's pretty easy to build credit in the US, okay? You can get multiple trade lines, you can get different types of trade lines. You can do, like I said, all kinds of different things. If you can then have business build up credit, so you can go and get a Dun & Bradstreet report. You can get all these different things. Okay, so there's a bunch of stuff, but it is a little bit of a long-term game. If you can't do the simple corporate credit transfer with Amex, right? Or if you can't just utilize something from your own country, or if you can't go and use prepaid cards or something like that. Okay, so I hope that gives like a broad set of scenarios. The last one is I think the most desirable because look, most people aren't really used to the idea that you can have credit in a foreign country. Just think about how powerful this is, okay? You want to go buy property there. You can do that. Now, keep in mind, in your home country, if something happens and your credit gets screwed up, this could actually affect you pretty negatively. But in a foreign country, it really doesn't, right? So the consequences, they're almost kind of crazy to give it to you. But hey, they give it to you, so who cares? Take advantage of it. I think it's a good asset to have. Some people will partner with you just because you have credit. Okay, that's a really valuable thing. So yeah, it's pretty simple. Get an EIN, an ITIN. If you can, get some sort of a corporate credit or like a credit transfer from your home country to that country, whether it's through Amex or through some other party. Get yourself a secured card. Start going and spending on that card. Basically make sure you're building up a credit file, and then go in afterwards and get yourself some real credit and start to grow it up. So hope that helps. If you have any interest in these subjects, like I said, please reach out to me. Happy to help you. Book a call with me, cord.fm/Michael Rosmer, or check out our websites, offshorecitizen.net, offshorecapitalist.com. There's a link below. And if you liked the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, pound that notification bell in order to make sure you don't miss a single video, or at least get the opportunity to see a single video. I'm going to see you guys on the next video.